Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 142 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. What's up, guys?
Happy long weekend, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I forgot this was a long weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I never forget a long weekend.
Right, but I think because it was like back to school and everything, I was more focused on that. And I get the feeling that's been a lot of people this week.
We've been in school already, so it's nothing different for us.
Carolina started a couple weeks ago, right? So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're back in school. We played tennis yesterday. That was about it. We were able to go out and play tennis. The whole family played tennis. There was some tennis talk. There was some smack talking at tennis.
It's the first day. It wasn't miserably hot in quite a while.
No, it was nice, and we played later at night anyway. But I mean, everyone in the house will play, so there was some discussion about who's the better tennis player. So we went out and did that.
Well, who won that argument though? Is it you? I mean,
it's always me. It's always
I know. That's why I said, is it you? I just assumed it was.
Yeah, I mean, we were playing best of 3 sets. My one son got close the first time around. We were playing double elimination. The problem is my wife is pretty good, but she has a shoulder problem. So it was a little bit easier to beat her with a shoulder problem. But yeah, we all went out there and trooped. It was fun. It's nice having that extra day. It allows everyone to kind of take a one day, do nothing sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was saying this, my wife and I were talking about this. It's like when you have like a toddler, though, like, having the weekends is like usually when you like recharge and relax and all that. But like with a toddler, it's like nonstop action, right? Like there's no recharging and relaxing. It's activity to activity to activity. You know what I mean?
They don't care what your schedule is.
Yeah, exactly. So I would love to just hang around.
The thing is, it only gets worse. So like our upcoming Wednesday. So my son will have practice at 4 a.m. My other son has a game. And then the swimmer still has a second practice in the afternoon. And then my daughter has tennis practice. So that's just Wednesday. So 4 a.m. practice, soccer game, tennis practice, second swim practice. So it doesn't get easier when they get older.
Yeah. But at least you don't have to actively be playing with them. They can they're doing their own thing.
Yeah, but sometimes that's worse.
Yeah.
Like when it's a practice, like you can go and sit and just watch practice.
Yeah.
The one thing though I've been disappointed in as I kind of delve down this rabbit hole of tennis, right? As my daughter starts, she has her first actual, practice for her team, and Disney doesn't have tennis tournaments. Like, they have these soccer tournaments, they have cheerleading tournaments, and their tennis area at the ESPN is nice. I was just super surprised they have no tennis tournaments. I was actually pretty disappointed that didn't exist. And I don't know why. I don't understand the why of it. Yeah. Because again, they have soccer tournaments, right? Like, and they're pretty cool. They have baseball tournaments. They have softball. They have golf, all different tournaments for juniors, but no tennis. Yeah, I don't know either. I couldn't figure that out. And I was a little disappointed. Now it seems like there is a lot of tennis that you can play at the different resorts, which is nice, but I think a tennis tournament would be kind of cool. So
yeah, maybe. I mean, do you think it's just not as popular as a sport? Maybe. I mean, I know tennis is popular, but
tennis is pretty popular, and they have a stadium, so I don't really get it. I think there's one national event there per year.
Okay,
but that's it. But I would have thought they would have had some sort of tennis, like junior tennis tournaments, but not to be.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, well, maybe someday.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, popular or not, like the U.S. Open is on for 12 to 24 hours a day for like over a week, right? And people are watching.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Yeah, well, figured Disney would want to get in on that.
You'd think so, yeah.
Yeah.
You think so. Well, I wanted to mention to you guys. So like, remember I mentioned that we were going to do this like kind of last minute trip in November. I think we talked about that, right? And DVC is not really meant for last minute, right? And I'm not usually the person that's booking the thing last minute, right? But So the time we're going is right around Veterans Day, and everything was booked. Oddly enough, the week of the anniversary of the 50th anniversary, like October 1st, there was like lots of availability. I was kind of shocked by that. But then I also remembered that DVC members tend to avoid super busy times like the plague, right? So I'm guessing that a lot of DVC members don't want to go that week just because they know it's going to be kind of nuts. But the week I wanted to go, there was nothing available. So I decided I was going to, stalk the availability tool, which, just the availability search. And so I was just, literally just sitting there all day, just update,
refreshing it on.
Was
it on your phone or on your computer or both?
I was doing it on my computer. I had it like on one of my monitors as I was working during the day. Like every once in a while I would just go over and click over and, and just nothing. Literally nothing. Not a single room. So I decided to try out a DVC app. Have you heard of DVCapp.com?
No, I have not.
Okay. So I hate to like promote anybody that that we're not working with specifically, but I mean, it's fine. I'll promote them. But, essentially it's kind of like touring plans with the reservation finder, but it's for DVC reservations. So like you have to pay them. Right. But then they will send you a text when rooms become available in a specific search that you do, which is kind of cool. I don't know how they're getting this information. I don't know if they just have somebody literally sitting there all day and just checking availability and then updating their site. But I will say, so I got 2 nights of my stay from doing that because I got an alert from them and I popped on the website, booked those. And then one night I got the other 2 nights I got from just refreshing constantly. So my wife and I had kind of decided we would be fine with just like resort hopping. Like if we were going to stay at a different resort every night, so be it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because we're going to drop my daughter off at my parents' house because we still don't want to bring her until she can get vaccinated. So we're going to bring her next year, hopefully. But right now, this is a short trip. We're going with some friends. It's like an adult kind of only trip. So, I don't know why I mentioned that. There was a reason why. Oh yeah. So we don't care about the resort hopping piece because we wouldn't want to do that with a 3-year-old, but because it's just us, we're like, all right, we'll go from place to place. But I have to say Saratoga for the win. Cause Saratoga, but here's the weird thing though. Like, I think that I know they were refurbing some of the Saratoga rooms. All of a sudden, like a whole bunch of availability showed up for Saratoga. So it didn't feel like it was just one person canceling or even a bunch of people canceling. It almost seemed like they put a bunch of rooms back into the inventory that were being refurbed because all of a sudden there were like several weeks available, like full weeks available. Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that could make sense. As a building closes down, they take it out of the points availability and then,
put it back in.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it too. I don't know how that necessarily works. And I had thought that they were completely done. It just seemed weird that all of a sudden it went from no availability and then the calendar had like basically the whole month of November was open. It was like in all room categories, not even just one room category, like all the room categories. So it was like, it just was like, okay, this isn't one person canceling. This is them it has to be that. I don't know what else it could be. So
yeah, I can't imagine like a convention canceling or something like that. That's what it would have to be, right? On that level.
Yeah, exactly. So as of right now, we're staying at Saratoga. We got, this is kind of funny though, right? So all that availability, but one of the days was not available, which was Veterans Day itself. That night, right? So I actually snagged a room at Boardwalk of all places on Veterans Day night. So as of right now, I'm staying Saratoga first night, Boardwalk the next night, and then Saratoga the next 2 nights. Which would be funny if we got to Saratoga and then had to leave and go to Boardwalk and then come back to Saratoga for 2 nights. But, whatever. I got last minute rooms. I'm using our points. I mean, we have so many points just sitting around. And Saratoga's really cheap. It was like $15 a night. It's like, and that was for a preferred studio. So, so I just had to talk about that adventure. But I mean, that website was helpful. I mean, I did have to pay like $16 for it, I think, or $17. But I was like, you know what? Is it worth it for not having to sit there and click on the website all day? Yeah.
Yeah, I think especially right now because, like a lot of people are in the same situation as you where there's a lot of excess points. It yeah, something like that does make sense because if you got to use your points anyway.
Well, and I was afraid I was going to have to use cash, which I don't mind using cash, right? Like I'm fine if I have to use cash, but when I have all these points sitting around, I want to use the points. I want to get rid of them. Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. And yeah, I guess, it sucks. I guess this speaks to something, the fact that there's a third party doing something like this. It would be really nice if Disney implemented something like this on the search where like you could, fill out criteria and then it would notify you. But yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I've used the touring plans one a bunch of times and it's worked pretty well for me. Although when we went in April, didn't get a single notification the entire time. Like, so I got no notifications. So like, it didn't really do anything for me that trip. Right. Right. Now the big thing is I got to figure out if it makes more sense for us to get annual passes or not. I'm not entirely sure and we're going to talk about annual passes, but I'm not entirely sure. Let's sideline that for now. Yeah. But that's the thing I got to figure out. Cause if we're going to go for 8 days next year and I'm going to come down for like a long weekend that, for the meetup we're going to do in May, and then we have this trip, does it make more sense for me at least to get an annual pass and, maybe my wife? But, I don't know. I got to do the math on that because it's, it's all different now. Right. So, but yeah, so now my only focus in life now is getting a reservation at Space 220 when the reservations open up. That's the only thing I care about now. So that's the new thing. Well, plus, filling in that last night with the Saratoga, on Veterans Day, but we'll see. I'm excited. We haven't stayed at Saratoga before, so this will check a box off for us. Yeah. So I guess I'll be curious to hear what your take is on it. I feel like, I know Damon's stayed there a lot, but I look at Saratoga kind of the same as like, it's not a moderate resort, but because it's so far away, it feels like it's a little detached from just Disney as a whole, right? Yeah, but it's like right next to Disney Springs, though. I mean, it's like... Yeah, I guess, yeah. If you're spending a lot of time at Disney Springs, that's fair. And I mean, we're used to staying at Animal Kingdom, too, and so compared to Animal Kingdom... Saratoga is right in the middle of everything. I think the bigger thing is that it's so big, it's just like, it's such a big piece of property. I mean, we're staying in a preferred room, so, we're a little bit closer to everything. We're not like way out there, but I am excited to stay in a refurbished room too. That'll be nice too. The refurbishments, the pictures I've seen have looked really nice. So I'm excited to check that out too. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's another box to check off. We really wanted to stay at Riviera, but for a last minute trip like this, it's like, we're going to take what we can get, right? So totally. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then I realized, right? So then I realized I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe the Christmas food and wine thing will be going on while we're there. And I was like, oh no, wait, regular food and wine's still going on because regular food and wine goes till like November 20th. So I was like, score. We're like right at the end of it. But so then I got excited and I went on the Food and Wine app that is out there. Those that don't know about the Food and Wine app, if you're going to go to Food and Wine or any of the food festivals at EPCOT, you need to download it. It's not an official Disney app, but it is the best. Has every single booth, what's at the booth, what's in each dish, how much it costs. You can easily like make a wish list, and then the wish list goes onto a map so you can see all the places you want to go. It's the best. So we were talking about Becky and I were talking about that in the Discord, talking about how great that app is. So yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So, but anyway, so that's my little upcoming last minute trip. I'm like I said, I really hope to get a Space 220 reservation. Like that's the only thing that matters to me now. So I've been waiting for this restaurant for years. I want to go. Even though I also want to eat a lot of food and wine. It's gonna be a lot of eating that day. Yeah, I was gonna say you may have to make some sacrifices because we tried to do Garden Grill and Via Napoli in the same day, like way too close together, and it ended up we went to Via Napoli and we ended up not eating half of our meal because we were just way too full. So yeah, because you're at a buffet, right? So yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it was family style, but yeah. Family style. You know what I mean? Yeah. A lot of food. Yeah. Okay. Well, do you want to start doing some listener questions? Yeah. Let's start. I just wanted to talk about that experience, by the way. And this is not us vouching for dvcapp.com. I just want to throw that out there. Not that they like are shady or anything. I just don't know how they get their info. And, it's I don't want to be running afoul of Disney, but, it's a good app to check out. It's actually not even an app. It's just called dvcapp.com. I don't even think they have an app. I didn't look, to be fair. But it is nice to get like text message and email alerts and stuff like that. So
yeah, exactly. And yeah, to that point is, these third party things, they'll go along for a while and then they'll work, and then Disney will change something that'll shut it down. So
shut it down.
Yeah. Keep that in mind.
I get a feeling they just have somebody sitting there just clicking refresh and then, filling out the website, like filling out the availability on the website.
No, there's no way.
I don't remember who told me this, but that's what Touring Plans does with their reservation finder. They pay people to just like sit there and just refresh. Yeah, I was shocked by that too. I was like, how do you not have some sort of
There has to be a script or a bot or something doing it.
I think so.
Yeah. Because otherwise, like especially with something like DVC reservations, people can snatch those up so fast.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, now I got to get tickets, but like I said, we'll talk about this. But so Dan wrote a lot of questions this week, but I think we're going to do Dan's. What's your Disney unpopular opinion?
Mm-hmm. I don't.
That's easy. Oh,
David,
David's Flight of Passage is stupid.
Let's go. Yeah.
David's got a lot.
Flight of Passage is stupid.
Yep.
That's probably an unpopular opinion. That's probably the highest one.
Yeah, I figured you'd go with that one. I don't care for Dole Whips.
Okay.
I think I've said that on the show before.
Yeah.
I don't care for Dole Whips.
Yep, that's fine.
It's nothing against a Dole Whip itself. I just don't like pineapple. So
okay.
There's different flavored Dole Whips though. So are you categorizing them all?
That's a fair point, Damon. I will do an orange swirl. I also want to try the watermelon one they have, but the traditional Dole Whip I'm not into.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to make a very. This may actually get a lot of hate, but the Grand Floridian it's the dumbest resort in my opinion. I think it is the worst designed resort.
Wow. What do you mean by worst designed? Like it's just too plain for you? Like
no, it's too over the top. It's too like like for being a resort in Disney, it comes off as, I don't know, there's always that comment about, feels like everyone should be in like, a suit and a top hat there, but there's always people, wandering through there in their shorts and sandals.
It's me. Yeah,
it just doesn't feel right to me.
But they got to have a place for all like the super rich and famous people to stay, right? So,
well, that was supposed to be the contemporary.
Oh yeah, but
yeah,
contemporaries, yeah. Well, and then also they have the Four Seasons on too.
I don't like the Grand Floridian.
All right, that's an interesting. I don't think we've ever heard that opinion from you before.
No, I usually don't. I try to. Everyone has their favorite resorts and everything, but I don't like the Grand Floridian.
All right. There you go. There's our unpopular opinions. By the way, we did not get a lot of questions this week. I don't know where everyone's at, but like there were like no questions this week. Dan like basically filled in all the questions, and then I went and got questions from other places. Yeah. So I got questions from our Discord is where I got questions. So
all right. Well, that's good. That's a good reason to have the Discord.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So do you want to read Julie's?
Yeah. So Julie says WDW has 50 rides in all 4 parks. 40 of those rides will be included in Genie Plus. What 10 rides do you think will be exclusive to the Lightning Pass system?
So I saw 40 plus rides is what I saw. Like so I don't know if 40 is going to be the final number there. I think it's probably, I'm sure there's probably 10 rides that are like in-betweeners that they're trying to figure out, right? Whether they want to include those or not. So that's a good question though. I feel like I should have pulled up the list of the ones that they said for Genie already,
Yeah. So I guess just thinking off the top of my head, like at each park, there's really only 1 or 2 rides that I would deem Lightning Lane. So yeah, I'm wondering where 10 rides is coming from.
So I just found something on WDW magazine. I'm going to throw this out there of confirmed Lightning Lane attractions, and then not confirmed Fast Pass rides likely to be Lightning Lane. So that's interesting.
Okay.
But when they're saying Lightning Lane, so they're calling Lightning Lane included with Genie Plus, and they're saying unconfirmed individual attraction. So that's what we're talking about there. So
yeah,
their guess here is Space Mountain, Slinky Dog, Avatar, Expedition Everest, Test Track, and Ratatouille. So we have a couple of these that were announced already, though, right? So Ratatouille was already said that it was going to be one, and then we know that Rise of the Resistance is going to be one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Do you think Smuggler's Run would be in there too?
Yeah. No. Smuggler's Run, they've already said will be part of Genie Plus.
Oh, okay.
They actually announced, that one's confirmed, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so Lightning Lane only rides.
Individual attraction rides is what we're looking at here, right?
Yeah. So
the ones that you have to pay the one-off for that's not included in Genie Plus.
Yeah, Rise of the Resistance makes sense. Flight of Passage makes sense. I know, Damon, you disagree, but it still makes sense.
I don't know if Everest does, personally.
No, I don't think Everest does.
Because that line can be short. That line can be really short.
Not as a Lightning Lane exclusive. It just, that doesn't make sense.
Because the idea of this is the super long lines, right? And like Everest, you can fluctuate under a half hour often, I feel like.
Yeah. I wonder if people are assuming that something being on Genie Plus and something being Lightning Lane are exclusive.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's what, I don't know if they said that or not, though. Like,
Yeah, I think maybe that's the thing that we're overlooking here, is that everyone's assumed that, if it's on Genie Plus, then you won't have the option to pay for the individual Fast Pass for it. But I wonder if what they're going to do is maybe for something like Everest, because at some points it is very quick, but then, maybe on busier days, it may be, that they do offer that because they know that it's busier, and they know that, if Genie Plus is full and all that, hey, we can offer, you want to skip this line, you pay the extra Lightning Lane pass, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, so I could see that, but I can't see them doing that only. Like, that would be crazy, because then there would be no Fast Pass line, because I can't, Everest has been around long enough. I can't imagine people paying to get on it like that.
Yeah. I would agree. And it's important to remember too, that they made it too, so that it's a maximum of 2, that you can pay for a day. Right.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that means they're going to limit it to 2 per park. You know what I mean? That are on the individual only. I don't know.
But then that still doesn't mean 10 rides, because there's only 4 parks.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Well, and that's why I don't think it's going to be 10 rides, because they said 40 plus attractions is what I read. And this article also says 40 plus. So I think there's some that they're still trying to figure out. Like, Space Mountain is a tough one. That's a ride that has long lines a lot, but like you're saying is, an older ride, right? But it's also a classic that everybody wants to ride, right? So it's...
Yeah. And I guess, fair point. But, Everest hasn't aged the same way as Space Mountain has.
What do you mean? Like, Everest is just, you're saying Everest is like not cool anymore? Like,
well, because of the, Disco Yeti and all that, I think that it doesn't get the same hype that Space Mountain does.
Sure. I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Test Track is a definite, right? Like, Test Track is definitely going to be an individual one. I can see Test Track. I can also see they may be also thinking future with like Guardians of the Galaxy. That I can definitely see being a Lightning. 100%. 100%. At least at first. Like, I also think there's going to be movement with some of these, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Remember, I mean, when they did the tiering system, they used to re-tier rides, right? And so, like, this is going to be similar. Like, I think they could start off with the Guardians ride as being an individual attraction and then later move it into Genie Plus if they feel like it makes sense, you know?
And that, yeah, that was kind of what I was saying there as well, was that, yeah, you know, like Everest is another example of that where, it may not even be that, you know, they just move it out of a tier, but it may be that they flip back and forth on it depending on the time of year.
Yeah. What about Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror? Those two feel like two that should also be on there.
Well, that would be dumb because, because Hollywood Studios, if you did Rise of the Resistance and those two rides, that's like half the park.
Yeah. And Slinky Dog,
in terms of
right?
rides. Yeah, and Slinky Dog, yeah.
That's the problem right now, though, is Hollywood Studios has, like, basically, you know, 4 of the busiest rides at all the parks, right?
Yeah.
Between you might even throw Mickey and Minnie in there, too. I mean, it's, you know, that's why it was hard for a while to get park reservations to Hollywood Studios, because that's where everybody wanted to go, because it's, you know, where a lot of this newer stuff was, and...
Yeah, it's really in a bad situation there because it's the most popular stuff right now, but there's also the least amount of overflow rides or overflow attractions, right? Like there's like I know
especially
there's like
with the shows not going on. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Beauty and the Beast is going on, Frozen's going on. I think the only one we're missing at this point is probably Indiana Jones and Fantasmic, right?
Yeah, but even at that, the problem with those is that they're at set times, so it's not like it's a big difference between, you know, like with Space Mountain, you've got that, but then right nearby you've got the Tomorrowland Speedway, you've got the People Mover, you've got Buzz Lightyear, so there's other smaller, I shouldn't say smaller rides, but there's other rides that will, you know. It gives people options, whereas in Hollywood Studios, it's like, well, you're either lining up for one of these rides or nothing. Like there's nothing else there to give you the choice. So that would suck if Hollywood Studios was basically like half Lightning Lane.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna find out. I feel like they need to come up with a different name for the individual attraction piece, because like. The Lightning Lane piece also applies to the Genie Plus stuff. Does it not? I mean, because the Lightning Lane is just the new Fast Pass lane.
Well, no, I thought that there was the Genie Plus, which was, you know, you can. Yeah. I guess we'll have to see.
Uses the Lightning Lane,
right? But then there's a paid Lightning Lane.
Yeah, but then there's a paid Lightning Lane. That's what I'm saying. They need a separate. Right. They need a separate name for that. Like, yeah. But you know, because it's confusing now. But I mean, we'll find out. I guess I'm hoping that this new system's in place by the time, which I think it will be. I mean, they said fall, so I mean, when I go in November and I can really kind of give it like a review, you know,
I would expect it'll be active by the 50th.
That's what I would guess too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got about.
So we're gonna find out more about this soon. We're gonna have confirmation of this soon. But.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see. I really do think they're gonna limit the individual attraction ones. So you know, we're gonna have to see. We're really gonna have to see. I really just, I don't know. But I mean, I think what they're going for here, and you know, the idea of this surge pricing is they're not gonna do it for rides that don't have consistently long lines, you know. Although that's not the only factor either, right? Because if you did it for just long lines, then, you know, you'd have Peter Pan on there too. So
true.
But and Splash Mountain. I mean, Splash Mountain's always super long. So
yeah, that would suck if you had to pay.
But I think they also know that no one's paying individually for either one of those, right?
Yeah, maybe. I guess, yeah.
You get a couple people, but just not everybody.
Yeah. It's That's a whole other discussion, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
But
so,
yeah, why don't we keep going here? So Julie actually has another question, which, so she says, I apologize if this has been asked or discussed previously. I'm not a DVC member, but I'm interested. What is your advice to people looking at buying DVC? Are there any important details we should know before buying?
we've done this a lot, but it's been a while. So
yeah.
And I think it's good that we kind of do this kind of stuff occasionally, right?
Yeah. And I think so at a high level, and this has always been something that we've said, is that you have to really look at your situation around vacations. Like it's, we say this all the time. It does not fit everybody. It does not make sense for everybody's vacation habits. The only other thing I'll say on that as well is, don't just look at what you're doing in the next year or 2 years, because if you're buying into DVC, it's a long-term thing, or it has to be a long-term thing if you're going to get the benefit out of it.
Yep. Yeah. And I would say too, I mean, we've talked about this a bunch, but, I think it's always good to do a lot of research. I think it might be a good idea for you to maybe try before you buy, meaning like rent somebody else's points and try that out. Mm-hmm. Also like what I was just talking about, if you guys are the type that do last minute trips, it's not the best for that, right? It's just not. It's not the best for super last minute trips. It's good if you can, book something far ahead of time. That's gives you more flexibility. But I think you really need to look at what resort you want to buy into and decide what matters to you too, right? So a lot of people say buy where you want to stay. We talked about that before. I used to bring that up a lot. And then David said to me one time, how many times have you stayed at your home resort? And I was like, oh yeah, never. So, but I mean, now I do with the Animal Kingdom. Like when I have Animal Kingdom, I stay there, but I never book 11 months ahead of time. Like I don't think I've ever done that in the history of having DVC.
And I'm exactly on the opposite side of that, which is, that's the whole
situation's
point.
Different though. You're traveling internationally. It's a different,
And that's the whole point, is that, everybody has their own way of doing things and their own way of traveling. So you have to really look at how you do it and crunch the numbers, do the research. Don't just buy into it thinking, next year I'm going to go and this will be great. You have to think about it beyond, just the short term, results. Right. So.
Yeah. And I'd also say just remember too that, it's a high cost on the front end, and that you're going to have those dues every year, and that the dues do go up, and the points again, you got to make sure that you're looking at it too. We talked about this before, about making sure that you're buying enough points for your typical stay, right? So the points change.
Yep.
So you could end up where, and I don't remember the last time we talked about this, but the points can be reallocated throughout the year to spread out demand more. So, what your trip might have cost you 100 points at one point, and then they change it and now it costs you 120 points. And so you really got to make sure that you are getting enough for you and your family. You also have to decide whether, it's more important to you to buy direct or to buy resale. Like if the resale savings that you're getting are worth it, for losing, whatever benefits you get with buying direct. So there's a lot to consider. I would say do your research, think about it a lot. There's a lot of websites out there about it. There's a lot of podcasts out there about it. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. So
yeah. All right. Do you want to get to Becky's question? Because honestly, I don't think I can answer it as well as you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. And I just stole this out of the Discord. She wasn't even asking this as a question for the show. She just asked it to the group, and I'm just like, I'm just going to steal this as a question. So Becky is actually leaving. I think she's going to listen to this as she's on the plane. So hi, Becky. She'll be on her way to Disney World, but she says, I'm no novice to an adult WDW vacation, but my husband and I will go without the 5 kids next week for the first time since our honeymoon. Any food, beverages you want to recommend are welcome. I know what I usually do on a kidless trip, so I'd love to hear from others. Also, can we keep the current crowds light, please? Or keep the current crowds, please, because they've been very light. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but it seems like there's been nobody at the parks, although now it's a holiday. But I do think everybody is waiting for the 50th. So
yeah,
and school started back up, so you're going to have less people. But I'm just trying to think of some of the things. I mean, I think just alcohol, anything. I mean, like, like if you want to drink around the world, go do that. I mean, that's another thing I didn't bring up, by the way, is the people I'm going with, namely my sister, says to me, she goes, so are we going to drink around the world? And I'm like, I said I'd never do that again. Like, I don't know if I could do that again at this age. Like, it's too rough. But then again, last time I did it over 2 hours. If I do it over the whole day, maybe it won't be bad. I don't know.
Yeah. Get some walking in between, get some water in between.
Well, we said we'd have mandatory water and food stops, just to make sure. Because we don't want to get ourselves into trouble. So, but anyway, so I mean, I don't know. This is tough. I saw some people recommend Baseline Tap House. I think that's a good option. That would be a cool place to go. I'm trying. It's a tough question because I mean, you can really just get drinks anywhere you want, right? So, I mean,
yeah, I guess it's.
I would do some nice dinners too, personally. Like I would eat at some signature restaurants. Like, not that you can't do that without, with kids, but I feel like it's a little different when it's just you can have like a nice romantic dinner with just you and your spouse,
Yeah, I will say, we definitely enjoy going out with our son for dinner, the three of us, but, sometimes you just want to go, like you said, you want to go and have just a meal, and it does open itself up because, if you're, the difference between, as Becky says, she's got 5 kids. Yep. There's a lot of restaurants that are out of scope at that point. Like you're not taking 5 kids to like Le Cellier or something like that.
Or a California Grill or Narcoossee's or,
exactly. Yeah. So that kind of stuff is definitely an option. Sorry. I've never done an adults only trip to Disney. So I don't even have any frame of reference there myself.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else we could tell you. I mean, if anybody has some ideas here, anybody that's in the Discord, post them in the Discord, or you can post this on Facebook too. But Becky's going to be there. She promised she's going to share some stuff. So we'll be looking forward to seeing some stuff from Becky's trip. So, okay. So that's all of our listener questions for the week. And Dan's probably going to be like, I posted 4 questions. Why did you only read one? I'm going to be like, because the other ones weren't very good, Dan. Sorry. That's just how it goes. Sorry,
we're allowed to pick the questions.
I know. Yeah, Dan knows we love him. All right, so I'm not going to pretend I understand what's going on with this next news item. But listen, a lot of the minutia of like DVC, like, we understand how DVC works, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background that is not, our forte. But I just want to read this. This is, by the way, I want to attribute this to DVC News because this isn't like an official thing that came out from Disney. This is from DVC News, which is a great website. I use it all the time to kind of catch up on like DVC stuff because they pay attention to a lot of things, especially some of the other Disney blogs don't. So, they're reporting that several owners of Disney's Old Key West have received solicitation from Disney Vacation Club to buy back their ownership interest, which is really interesting. Like they're literally saying to them, "We notice you haven't been utilizing your DVC resort." And they said, if your family has decided that DVC isn't right for you, we'd welcome the opportunity to speak to you and to sell back your ownership interest at Old Key West. Mm-hmm. And they're also paying 10% over what they would typically pay,
which is still not as good as resale.
Yeah, that's actually, that's true.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing here is, they're saying the interest in Old Key West points likely relates back to the contract extension offered to owners a decade ago. The resort was originally sold to expire 2042. In 2007, they offered an additional 15 years of ownership, extending the contract until 2057. The cost for the extension, which at the time was 35 years away, was 15 per point and later raised to 25. Members not interested in the extension were asked to sign a quitclaim deed granting DVC rights to the additional 15 years.
Their contract still runs out at 2042, but
those Disney, that didn't opt to it, yeah.
Yeah, so it just means that they forfeit their contract at that point, and then Disney has another 15 years to resell it.
It's so messy. They're mentioning that this site is saying that they've done some research and found that only 20% of owners took them up on the offer. So that's basically what DVC itself is able to reacquire 2042 contracts via foreclosures and right of first refusal, combine them with the additional 15 years, and sell the points to new owners at the 2057 end date.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting strategy that they're doing here.
Well, I mean, that's not just this thing that they're doing. I mean, that's what they're saying is that's an overall strategy that Disney has. But I think in this particular case, the way I'm reading this is they know that, for the last year and a half or so, people haven't been using their contracts. And I think they're kind of playing to, some people may be at that point where they haven't been going long enough that they're questioning why they still have their DVC contract. Yeah. And unfortunately, I think, Disney is also playing to people that, won't actually think about it and won't look at resale, that they'll just, hey, we'll buy back your points. It seems safe, right? The problem with, or the thing I guess people don't understand with resale is that, they feel like, selling your points. Well, yeah, you may not get what you think you should get for it, but because it's like a real estate thing. So there's room for negotiation. But at the end of the day, as the seller, there is always right of first refusal, which means that Disney always has the opportunity to buy back your points. You don't lose anything at that point. But what Disney's doing here is they're saying, hey, we'll buy back your points just, right now, no hassle, or not no hassle, but, kind of get that knee-jerk reaction out of people. And they're using it to definitely build up a bank of points that they can sell, right? Like I feel like this is definitely a strategy for them going into the next year or two as things start to return to normal. Is, they want to have a stock of DVC points that they can put out there for people that, like even like I'm reading this email, they're saying, we recently noticed that you haven't been utilizing your Disney Vacation Club resort. So they're kind of saying, hey, if there's people sitting on points that aren't using them, that's costing them money, not just, it doesn't cost them anything if people aren't using their points, but what it does cost them is people aren't buying park tickets, food, souvenirs, all that kind of stuff. So they want to get those contracts to people that will actually use them. Yeah. So that's what I'm reading here, is that they're trying to get rid of people that don't use their contracts and get interested people into it. But then, of course, in the middle there, or they're making themselves the middleman instead of relying on the resale market to do it.
It's just so interesting that they're actively going after this. Usually they're acquiring these contracts passively, right? Through right of first refusal, foreclosures, like it was saying. But the fact that they're actively soliciting. Yeah. What is this soliciting? Yeah. Oh man. But the fact that they're actively doing that, like, is interesting. It's just a different kind of thing. So
it's, again, I feel, like I said, that this is them positioning for things going back to normal. Yeah, it's definitely a preemptive thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if next year they have some great deal on points or direct points, especially something like Old Key West, right? They want to try and get people back into a resort like that because it is one of the older resorts, but this is the time to incentivize people to do so.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, so go check out that article on DVC News if you're interested. I just thought that was an interesting thing, and it was some interesting DVC stuff there. So
yeah, it doesn't affect me, and that they're really only
it
focused
doesn't affect
on
me either.
Yeah, they're focused on Old Key West at the moment, but I guess that's not to say at some point that they couldn't look at other resorts. So.
But I think this is really specifically around those extended, because this is like the only resort where they did that extension of 15 years. I feel like that's what they're going for here, because that offers them an advantage to buy some of these back. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's kind of, I don't think they're going to do that with other ones. I'm just thinking it's only, but I mean, I could be wrong. You might be right. They might be doing it with more. So
yeah, I think well, we'll have to see as time moves along here, that I could see Saratoga definitely happening at some point.
Maybe.
But yeah, some of the other smaller resorts, maybe not so much. I think it's just because of the fact that it is a large resort and they don't want to have a bunch of unused inventory sitting there.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so Fab 50. We're almost done, by the way. I think there's only 4 left.
Oh, really?
I think I saw. Yeah, we're almost there. So I'll just run through these really quick. Well, go ahead.
No princesses.
Still no princesses. I just think there's going to be no princesses. Like, there's just think they're not going to do it. But so we got Pua and Hey Hey from
Moana. Yeah. Okay.
Got Miguel from Coco. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's which is interesting considering they did Dante. Like, why wouldn't they do them together? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do they really feel like it was necessary to have 2 from Coco? I don't know.
Well, but it's funny because, like, right before that, Pua and Hey Hey, like, why? Yeah, for different movies, why split them up?
Yeah. Which also is interesting too, because like Hey Hey's a big part of the movie, but Pua is not. Pua's like a very small part of that movie. Like, Pua's in the very beginning and like the end, and that's it.
Yeah, but they sold Pua plushies because
and Pua's adorable. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Lady and the Tramp feels right.
That's classic. That's fair. Yeah.
Here's where we get a little sticky.
Yeah.
Groot and Rocket. Listen, I actually like this. I'm in on this. I like it. I know why they're doing it. They're doing it because of the new Guardians ride, and that's where they're putting it, is right in front of the Guardians ride. I know people are going to be like, Fab 50, really? But I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah, but it's Marvel, and Groot and Rocket are not originally a Disney IP.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
like that's.
But they are now.
I know, and it's the same problem as like Star Wars, but it's.
You know what though?
Yeah.
Here's the thing: you could make somewhat of an argument that it is an original Disney IP, and I'll tell you why. So even though they were from the comic books, the first Guardians movie didn't happen until after Disney owned Marvel, right? And even though they were in the comic books one way, they're different in the movies than they necessarily were in the comics. So it's almost like they created a new character inspired by the comics kind of thing. You know what I mean?
That's some weird Spider-Verse logic. I mean,
I think it makes sense.
I'll let it go because, the multiverse thing is
multiverse.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I know what you're saying. It's just, it seems okay. Fine.
Let me say, but hold on. So let me use a different example. So let's go with BB-8, right? So Star Wars, right? They didn't make those new movies until after Disney acquired them. And then after Disney acquired them, BB-8 was created. Therefore, in my mind, BB-8 is original Disney IP.
Okay, but then how do you explain R2?
Not original Disney IP.
That's my point.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm making the same argument with Groot and Rocket, is like they created those characters. I mean, the characters, again, they existed in the comic books, right? So it's not like they created them from scratch, right? But from everything I've read about it, it does seem that Groot and Rocket are a little bit different in the movies than they are in the comics. So I don't know. Whatever. I like this one. I think they look like cool statues, but I know a lot of people are going to hate on this one. So
yeah, I'm still hung up on them claiming Fab 50, and yeah,
there's no princesses at all. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, a lot of it just doesn't make sense. And
yeah, Dante
and I will say
is
this,
one that doesn't make sense. That one just doesn't make sense.
The Rocket Fab 51, the face needs a little more detail.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. It doesn't, like, yeah.
But I mean, maybe you can only get so many details, because they actually showed like the process of making them. Like they were like molds, so like they didn't like carve them or anything. Like they didn't like have an artist do like they were like poured into molds. So maybe you can only get so much detail doing it that method. I don't know.
Yeah, somebody still had to design that mold. It's just I think that because they tried to do the fur on his face. It just really took away a lot of the detail, and it looks, yeah.
Maybe it just looks that way though in the picture too.
It could be, yeah. I guess, yeah. Pictures don't always show everything, but right now it almost looks like a, it looks like a knockoff Disney thing.
I do think the comments are pretty funny. Yeah. By the way, on this Instagram post, the first one says, "When I think of EPCOT, I think of Rocket and Groot." Makes sense.
Yeah,
I think they're being sarcastic. I don't know.
Yep, totally. Yeah. Oh, don't you think of Guardians when when someone says EPCOT? Yeah,
I do always. All right, so now we got Bambi and Thumper again. Makes sense.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that one. Now, this one, I don't get either. Like, Frozone. I don't get Frozone. Like, Frozone's a cool character, right? But like, how do you have Frozone and none of the the actual Incredibles family? You have Frozone and you have Edna Mode, right? That's the only two people you have from those movies.
Yeah, you know, the more that I'm
at least give me Jack Jack. At least give me Jack Jack. Come on.
Yeah, the more that I'm thinking about it, this entire like the vast majority of characters listed on this Fab 50 are like they're supporting characters in a lot of these movies. Like
a lot of them are, yeah.
So they call it the Fab 50, but it's more like the B list.
I mean, I think they're being pretty deliberate here. I think they're doing the picking these for specific reasons,
right?
You know, but it just feels odd. I don't know. It just feels odd to me.
It's no longer the Fab 50. It's the Mickey and the B list.
Mickey. That sounds like a band.
Yeah, totally. Mickey and the B list. Yeah, that's what this. It's a 50-piece ensemble of Mickey Mouse and some other characters.
I think I'm just a little bit mad that Frozone's there and Dante's there, and we don't have a single Muppet character. Not one.
Yeah,
like give me a Muppet character.
That's a good point. For as much as they like Muppets gets its moment every once in a while, but yeah, there's no, Kermit could have been in here quite easily.
How do they not have Kermit? Like, I mean, listen, there's still 4 left to announce, so a Muppet character could be in there, right? I mean, I think there's 4 left. I could be wrong about that. I don't know what order these were in. I know there were some left, so yeah.
So following that logic, it'll be like Sweetums or something like that.
What? Wait. Yeah. Oh, you're following the B character thing?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think you got to go Kermit if you're gonna do. Even though Kermit's not my favorite Muppet, like I feel like you kind of have to go Kermit, right?
But they haven't done that. That's my point.
Well, no, I'm just saying if you're gonna do if they were gonna do a Muppet character, I feel like you have to go Kermit at least, and then maybe Miss Piggy. Like you could do them together. You could like have them sitting on the log together, and singing Rainbow Connection or whatever. But like, you know what I mean? Like you could do that, but I just feel like it's a missed. Yeah, it's a missed one. But again, maybe they're gonna announce one of those. It just feels weird to leave that for the end. But again, Frozone and what are they doing with those?
Well, Frozone's always been like, even when the original movie came out, he was a supporting character, but the fact that Samuel L. Jackson
that's part of it,
voiced him, it definitely Frozone stuck, I think, in a lot more people's minds than The Incredibles overall.
Sure.
So I can see this one, but yeah, some of the other ones just. I don't know.
I was saying in the Discord, it's like even like the Dante one is weird to me because I feel like Dante wasn't really that big of a part of Coco. I feel like you could have gone with the others. The other was a spirit animal, whatever they're called. The other one, the bigger one. I feel like that one had and I forget what its name was. Yeah, the cat one. Like that one had a bigger part in the movie. I feel like than Dante did. Yeah, like and that one's at least cool looking. Like Dante's just a dog. Like I don't know. It's all confusing to me.
Yeah. I feel like I want to point out something about Coco that people may overlook, but I also don't want to bum anybody out either.
What?
So Dante became a spirit animal, right?
Yeah. Oh, so he's dead. This is what you're saying. Yeah. He doesn't cross back over with Miguel, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean,
sorry.
To be fair, Dante wasn't really his dog, though, right? Dante was just kind of like a stray.
He was a stray, but yeah, he unfortunately, yeah.
Listen, I like all the Coco stuff. I think Coco's a really great movie. I really like that movie quite a bit, and I would like to see more of it. Like I'd like to see more of it in the parks. So I'm not against the Coco statue. Like I think that's cool to have that there, but. It's just weird that we have that. It almost makes me feel like they have to be doing something else for the princesses. Like they haven't announced something that they're going to do with the princesses. Like it just doesn't make sense to me that you have Miguel and no Anna and Elsa, right? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
and Olaf, and it's again, like I said, it's you know, they did like the you know, Mickey and the typical, you know, whatever it is, the Fab 6 or Fab 5, or I can't remember what they.
Well, and it's one thing though. Yeah, well, it's one thing if you're going to say no humans, right? But that's not what happened here. We have humans all throughout this. Yeah, right?
the entire thing to me is just, you know, they pick some obvious ones like Mickey Mouse and that whole thing, and then the rest is like, it's like supporting characters. They just didn't, and I guess maybe that might be why they went that way, is that if they went with main characters, there may be arguments around who's better fitted to be on the list. Yeah. Whereas the fact that it's all like B list, it's kind of like, okay, you know, give them a shot, right?
But at the same time, a lot of like the side characters are like some of the more popular characters, right? Like, if you think about it, right? Because a lot of those, like Olaf is probably the more popular character of anybody from Frozen, right? I mean, Olaf is extraordinarily popular. Not that Anna and Elsa aren't. I'm just saying, like, if you look at it, he's the side player, but he's very popular.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I think what's happening for Halloween this year is my daughter's going to be Elsa, my wife is going to be Anna, and I'm going to be Olaf. So that's a thing that's probably going to happen this year. There'll probably be pictures of me dressed as Olaf. So yeah. Yeah. It's fun to
go completely left field and what's the reindeer's name?
Sven,
yeah.
Yeah.
Do Sven.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I had suggested to my daughter that I be Kristoff, and she said, no, you Olaf. So, and I was like, okay. I mean, that's fair. I'm the shape of Olaf. So, I mean, I think I'm better off as Olaf than Kristoff. Probably better, an easier costume too, anyway. So, all right. So let's go ahead and do our ad here.
Okay.
So, DVC rental store, and we were talking earlier, you know, about trying before you buy, right? Trying before you buy DVC. This is a great way to do it. The DVC rental store, a World of DVC company, offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC rental store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. And as always, DVC rental store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 1-855-382-7368. And of course, let them know that Welcome Home sent you. All right. Let's talk about these new annual passes, huh? I hate when Disney announces stuff on a Monday and then we have to wait a whole week to talk about it. That's somebody in the group was like, you guys should record on Mondays and release on Tuesdays. It's like, well, you know, this doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to when they actually announce stuff. So, you know, we could record any day of the week and we would always miss things. That's exactly true.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember when we first started, when we used to release shows on and when we used to record, because I don't really remember. Because I feel like it wasn't Mondays at first. It was like Tuesday or some random.
Yeah, I think we started with Tuesday, but yeah.
Mondays make more sense, right?
Yeah.
Start your week off with us.
Exactly.
All right. So let's talk about this. So, you know, we kind of speculated for a little while that there probably would be some changes to the annual pass holder program, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which there are.
Yeah.
Not a lot, right? I mean, it's not that much, I don't think.
Well, there's now 4 tiers instead of 3, I guess would be the first big standout thing for this.
Yeah. Good. Do you want to...
Sorry, I'm trying to find the I don't remember the naming. I only remember the...
I got it.
Okay, yeah.
Disney Pixie... So the lowest tier is the Disney Pixie Dust Pass. That one is $3.99 plus tax. Florida residents can do monthly on that one. That is visit one or more Disney World resorts on most weekdays with an advanced park reservation, subject to blackout dates. Now, listen, because this is the lowest tier pass, most likely a lot of the holidays or periods are going to be blocked out. So, you know, like your Christmas, your Thanksgivings, your, you know, New Year's, probably spring break will be blocked out. Mm-hmm. I don't have the calendar in front of me, but that's probably the case. Now, this also allows you to hold up to 3 park reservations at a time. So, it's interesting. We talked about the reservation system and why they might keep it. Now I'm realizing the reason they're keeping it is for the annual passes.
Yeah, it's a control point for APs. Yeah,
it's exactly right. I hadn't thought about it being that before, but that's exactly why they're doing it. And so this is 3 park reservations at a time, available to Florida residents only. Then we have the Disney Pirate Pass. This one is $6.99 plus tax. Again, same kind of situation, different blackout dates. And this one you get 4 reservations at a time. Again, Florida residents only for this one. And then you have the Disney Sorcerer Pass. This one is $8.99 plus tax. This one you can hold up to 5 park reservations at a time. And this one's available to Florida residents and DVC members. So this is the DVC member pass. Now this is your new gold pass. Yeah. Now, no word on whether we're going to get a discount on this, but I'm assuming because they specifically call out DVC members that this is the price. Yeah. Right? That would be my assumption.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the Disney Incredipass. That one is $12.99 plus tax. And that one is no blackout dates, 5 reservations at a time. So basically, you're just eliminating the blackout dates. That's if you want to use your annual pass during, the week of Christmas, whatever.
Yeah. And that's, when you talk about the blackout dates, like looking at it going into the end of 2021, they've blacked out Thanksgiving and Christmas at this point.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Now, things that did go away, there's no more free photo pass. That is gone. So we don't have that anymore. That is an add-on now that if you want to do, you can. But it's
$99, which is still cheaper than getting a regular photo pass.
Yeah, and I think does everybody have to get it, or does only, one person in your party?
I would assume it's the same as it was, where only one person has to get it, because I went with 8 people and we only bought a single photo pass. It was attached to my account and everybody used it. So
yeah, that would make sense. It's just like one of them applies to all the people in your party.
Yeah. And I think that's the key, is that as long as you're all going together, then you only need one. But if for whatever reason, if you have different, you're splitting it up for whatever reason, then yeah.
So you do also get parking for free, though, and you're still going to get savings of up to 20% on dining merchandise and more. And there's also going to be random times where they give people bonus reservations, like the ability to get into bonus reservations. So that's something. And then it looks like the water parks pass is, again, it's another add-on. So it's like if you want to access to water parks, I forget how much it was. I don't know if it was also $99 or what it was, but let me see if I can pull it up. They don't say it in the announcement, oddly enough. Yeah. But let's see.
Basically, it should translate to, if you go to the water park twice in a year, it pays for itself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the water parks and sports option is $99. So yeah, it's the same thing. So yeah. And so listen, everybody that currently has an annual pass, you can keep yours until it expires. Then you're going to have to renew into one of these tiers. So you're not going to be forced to do it yet, but you will later on.
And the other thing to know with the park reservations is that, they say a limited number of park reservations per pass. This doesn't include if you're staying at a Disney property. So if you're buying, or if you have an annual pass, but then you have a trip booked staying at a DVC resort. So this applies obviously specifically to DVC members. You can book reservations for the entire duration of your DVC stay.
Yeah, so I saw a lot of people were confused about that, and I guess didn't see that piece of it. But yes, that's a good point, Trevor, that you are able to book for your whole trip. You're not limited to that amount of days, which is good. That's the smart thing to do, right? So yeah. So yeah, listen, this is it's a mixed bag of stuff. Like I'm surprised they raised the price as much as they did. I'm never surprised by any price increases anymore, but
I'm not.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this, because it's back to unpopular opinions. Disney doesn't want a bunch of annual pass holders there right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They absolutely don't. And that's why they're making this more difficult. And I know for a lot of people, I've seen a lot of the comments around, hey, this prices us out of using an annual pass. that's kind of what Disney wants.
Kind of the point. Yeah. Kind of what they're trying to do. Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is that annual pass holders, and especially like I for the longest time I was like, blackout dates, that seems like an annoyance. I realized that the whole point of blackout dates is not just, they don't want annual pass holders going to the park on those days because they want to fill the park with people that will spend money. So on the very, at the very busy times of year, so the holidays, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, all that kind of stuff, if you've got a bunch of annual pass holders there, those are people that are showing up, maybe doing a ride, maybe buying something from quick service, and that's it. And especially now with the reservation system, they would rather have those times a year full with, people that are planning bigger trips, are planning to spend the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense. Yeah,
it does. Now though, I have to, and I know you're looking at this too, right? Because you were hoping to buy new annual passes, and I don't know if it still makes sense for you to do it, like even with the price increase, or because for me, like at this point, I got to redo the math, right? So I knew before that it would have made sense between the two trips to do it, right? But now with the new price, it's like, okay, now I got to figure out if it actually makes sense,
So for me, it does. The cutoff is around 9 or 10 days that the annual pass saves us money, at least. So if we're planning to do 2 trips in the next year, yeah, it still saves us money. Only because we do week-long trips. The part that's still up in the air is the water park option, because we would, in the past, we would go for that. But because we're going earlier in the year this year, like around February, it can be hit and miss. That there's some times where it is actually cold enough that, even as Canadians, we don't want to go to the water park.
Well, and it kind of seems like it's one of those things you don't have to decide in the beginning. Like you can add it on anytime, Yeah,
but it basically boils down to if we don't do it in February and we end up going in like October or November, it would still make more sense just to pay for the individual water park pass, because we're not doing two trips with it. It still does make sense. And the thing is it still makes sense because it's in parallel with, the overall price increases for park tickets. Like what, like you said, we did the math on it, and it does have the potential to still save us money if we go enough in the year. And again, this year coming up, same as everybody else, we have a surplus of points. We're planning to try and do more trips than we would normally do in a single year. But, past that, this next year is kind of the exception because, we haven't traveled for a couple of years and we have the money to put towards it. Going past that, I don't know if it'll actually make sense. And it kind of gets into the, this is the discussion that, a lot of people are having around, hey, they're pricing us out of going. But, the truth of the matter is, you don't have to go to Disney every year.
Yeah.
And, even as DVC members, you don't have to go. And all, like, I was thinking about this all week because, there's been lots of discussion around the annual passes. And I actually thought back, as a kid, we went once every 5 years.
Yeah, it's kind of similar for us. We went every, I don't know if there was like a cadence to it, but it was not every year for sure.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that, I think it's, a lot of people got used to the idea of just being able to go every year. And, we've gotten used to that too, in the last, 6 or 7 years, we've been going pretty regularly. But, unfortunately, because of these changes, you may have to dial it back, and it sucks. I know a lot of people, a lot of the reactions are, people are they're upset because they're being told, no, you can't go to Disney as much as you want to go.
Yeah.
But that's just reality right now. So
yeah. I mean, I think these are interesting. This change is interesting, but it's not all that different from what I was expecting. It's, more of the prices. I think we thought that they were probably going to change it somehow and make it a little more even like the Disneyland passes are. Like, I mean, it's pretty much the same as the Magic Key program. It's very similar.
Yeah,
know?
They are. It looks like they're definitely trying to parallel the two now.
They are, yeah.
Which that is a good thing, at least from that point of view, is that, you know, getting both. Like, I know for people say, you know, Disneyland, Disney World, you know, they're in totally different parts of the country. It shouldn't matter, but people look at Disney overall, and you know, a lot of people try to relate, you know, well, I went to Disney and they did this, or Disneyland and they did this, you know, why is it totally different in Disney World? Right. So
exactly. Yeah. So
I can see, you know, it's good that they're doing that. And, you know, truth be told, it, as much as, you know, people who are Florida residents, you know, I've seen some, you know, people saying, you know, those lower passes, there's way too many restrictions on them, but it's very similar to the Southern California passes where, yeah, there was a ton of blackouts. There was, it wasn't meant to be convenient all the time. It was, you know, they knew that people, you know, living in that area, you do have the luxury of, you could go to Disney any day of the year. So they're kind of playing to that, and they also want to make sure that they keep. I hate to say it, but what they don't want to see happen is if they make this annual pass, or if they make annual passes available to absolutely everybody, you kind of end up with situations like they weren't, or what were they called? The social groups in Disneyland. I don't know.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay. So what it was is basically the people translated to, they were almost like biker gangs in Disneyland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And so it was, but they weren't, you know, these people, like, they would actually go around, they would have like matching jackets with like a logo for their social group is what they called them. But it perpetuated and, you know, I watched this years ago where, you know, these people would go around the parks and they almost had like turf wars to a point. like there would be like groups of like, hey, you know, this is where this social group hangs out. You know, you can't be here. Kind of.
So weird.
Yeah. Like and the problem is that the reason that people were able to do that was because they were buying annual passes and they were able to go so much that, you know, it kind of breeded that sense of entitlement that, you know, they figured that their social group was more important than what Disney was doing. And Disney had to rein that back in. They had to, you know, deal with, and that's not to say that all social groups were like that. It was, you know, but there was always that fringe of, you know, people that were very negative and toxic. And, you know, Disney doesn't want to enable that. And they don't want it to get to a point where, you know, a bunch of people that, you know, think that they're entitled to be in the park all the time is making for a negative experience for other people that, you know, aren't necessarily coming all the time.
Yeah.
So I can see why they put a lot of the limitations in, because Disney has been burned by that before. By, you know, I've seen the other side of it where they've opened up annual passes and made it for absolutely everyone. And, you know, the problem with that is that it attracts absolutely everyone, not just Disney fans. So
sure. That makes sense. Yeah, I thought the other interesting thing in here though too was they mentioned that, well, first of all, these are going to be available September 8th. I would expect to be waiting in a virtual queue, as that happened with Magic Key. I know people ended up waiting hours, in virtual queues for that. So, you know, I would expect the same thing here. I think these are going to be popular still, even at the price that they're at. But I think it was interesting that they made it very clear that, where is the line about it? That they could stop selling these at any time. Like that was a line that they have in there. Oh, why can't I find it? I just had it up. They said in here, please note, as we continue to manage attendance to provide a great experience for everyone, at any time, annual passes may be unavailable for purchase. So that they might just stop selling them at any time. It seems like they're trying to sell a limited amount, or they're just preparing for the possibility they might have to downgrade capacity and just, I don't know.
I think it's a twofold thing. I think that, one, they're looking at, if they have to downgrade capacity, they don't want to be in a position where there's way too many people out there with APs. So there is still definitely some control there. Also, I think because of the 50th, they definitely want to control how many people have APs going into the 50th, regardless of any other outside factors. Because, like I said earlier, they don't want a bunch of AP people there that are not spending money when they could have people coming that want to celebrate the 50th and spend money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting that they put that out. I mean, it's probably just to cover their butt kind of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah. But, who knows if they'll actually stop selling them at any point. But I think they probably just want to keep that option available to them.
So I did read something about the Magic Keys actually selling out.
Like sold out completely?
Well, they stopped selling them for a little while because, same kind of thing as I think that, Disney's, they're not just going to, or there's going to be a surge of people wanting to buy APs. And I don't think Disney wants to, they don't want to make that, they don't want to open up that floodgate yet.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
All right, I think we talked enough about annual passes, but I'm got to do the math on this and really figure out if it makes sense for me. But
so far,
I like having an annual pass; it's nice to have.
Yeah, so far for me, it does make sense. But like I said, we're some of the smaller things like water parks are still up in the air, and it really hinges on us taking a second trip in the year. So
And also, I got to remember too to include park hopping in there too, because that's a consideration here, right? With an AP, you can hop parks at will. With a regular ticket, you have to add that feature on. So, that's part of the calculation here too. So I'm going to take a look, but I'll be interested to see.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Let's talk about. You've been wanting to talk about this all episode.
What, Space 220?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you watch the video that's in this Instagram post?
No, I have
From
not.
Zach Riddley? Oh, man. I know you don't like spoilers, so you don't want to ruin it, right?
Well, okay. Is this? Oh, this is showing the launch sequence thing?
It's showing the elevator,
Then no, I will pass.
All right, so in this video, though, we get that Space 220 is opening September 20th, which, if you're listening to this right now, is 2 weeks from the day that we put this out. So that's really exciting. I thought it was funny though, because as soon as I saw this, I immediately hopped onto the app to see if reservations were open, right? Mm-hmm. And simultaneously realized that reservations are now only 60 days out, and I wasn't 60 days out yet, and that also that they didn't have reservations yet. So it was a double sad. It's like, oh, they don't have reservations yet, and I'm not within my window. So,
but that's good though.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that now you know that it's coming and you can plan for that 60-day instead of scrambling because, if your trip was in like 3 weeks and you were having to try and get a reservation, that would be stressful.
Yeah, that would be stressful, right? I mean, maybe I don't think there's any way they don't do reservations here. But what was the restaurant that they just did? Is it the crepe place that just has virtual? There's one of them that only has like virtual walk up. I forget what it is though now.
Oh, like mobile order only?
It's not mobile order only. It's that virtual line that they're doing, where so they have a thing on the app, and you haven't been in a while, right? So you probably don't even know this. But if you don't have a reservation, instead of walking up, you can just go on the app and get in line, basically, or like a walk up.
So so instead of going to the host or hostess and getting on the list, you can just do it through the app now.
Yep, you do it through the app. Yep.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if that's what they're going to... I mean, I doubt they're going to do that with this. I think this is a highly anticipated restaurant. I know I'm highly anticipating it, but just based on the things I see on Facebook, like a lot of people want to go here. It just looks super cool.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, we were sold on this well over a year ago, so there's a lot.
It's been like several years. I feel like it was like 2018 they announced this.
I feel like we started talking about it in 2019, and then you were planning to go in 2020, and then it just.
Everything fell apart. Yeah. But I mean, listen, now we have an opening date. Again, we'll all believe it when we see it. But I'm so excited about this.
Is this going to be one of those things where you have to provide photographic evidence that you actually did it because, like Space Mountain?
Yeah, I don't know. It's that's not a question for me. So
no one will believe you actually went there.
Oh, I will take lots of pictures though. I mean, I will for sure. I'll take a video of the whole thing all the way up.
I was going to say, why are you not videoing it? You should be, getting on video and showing everybody.
Because I'm old. I don't understand video. We took pictures, I'm going to bring a Polaroid camera with me, okay? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a Polaroid camera, and I'm going to take Polaroids. And then you're just all going to have to deal with a Polaroid. So the other thing, and, Damon told this to us before the show, and I didn't know this, but Zach Riddley also revealed a mural of Mickey Mouse in the Creation Shop. And apparently this is causing a stir on the internet, which I hadn't seen. I thought everybody was cool with this. I like it. I think it looks cool.
Yeah. So it's a hand-painted mural that's going to be, or it's in EPCOT. And I agree with Damon. I think it looks really nice.
It's a 35-foot hand-painted mural.
Yeah. And
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think, people always love getting on when Mickey doesn't look like Walt's Mickey, right? Sure. Or it doesn't look like classic Mickey. Like this is definitely a new, a new look for Mickey. It still looks very much like Mickey Mouse. Like I think it's, it's a very nice update to it. But of course, people, like you said, people on the internet love picking things apart even when that doesn't need to happen.
It's just interesting though, because he's looked different throughout the years, right? Mm-hmm. And he's had I almost feel like the one in this one is the one I remember from,
it's closer to like a
Christmas
90s
one.
Yeah. Christmas Carol. Yeah.
Yeah. That one is the one I'm really getting vibes from, you know what I mean? That version of Mickey. But I feel like they aren't trying to go with a new version. I think they're just trying to do a cool piece of art that's not necessarily Mickey's. I mean, it's inspired by the different versions of Mickey's, right? Like it doesn't have to be exactly Mickey. It's just such an odd thing that anybody would be annoyed by this.
Yeah.
Especially when Mickey Mouse has changed like a ton.
Yeah. Well, but people always attach to their version of Mickey, okay. As we were all growing up, like I remembered, watching certain Mickey Mouse cartoons and identifying that as like, oh, that was the Mickey Mouse cartoons. Like that was what I remembered. But really those cartoons that I was watching were already, like you said, it changed multiple times over the years. But because that's what I identified, anytime I would see anything else, whether it was older or newer, I would go, hey, that doesn't look right. So
I get it. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I think people do that, but yeah, it's, all in all, this mural, I love the color on it, and I love how, it's actually called Mickey in Motion, right? And I think, it definitely has a lot of cool movement to it. So
yeah, for sure. And it's just really like you said, the colors are very cool. Just because Mickey doesn't look exactly like he's always looked. It's not supposed to be an exact, you can see an exact picture of what he's supposed to look like in a lot of places, how about we have an artistic inspiration for it?
Yeah, especially in somewhere like it's the, what is the place called? The Creation. Where is it?
Oh, the Creation Shop.
Yeah, Creation Shop. Yeah, I keep wanting to call it Creation Station. This is going to become a new meme or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but Creations. Yeah, it's Creations. Yeah.
Yeah. In the Creation Shop, like, why would you not have a unique take on Mickey Mouse in there? Like,
yeah. What do people want? They just want like an exact picture of him. Like what?
Yeah, it's not creative just to do the same thing that has been done many times before.
Yeah, that's just so silly. Like, this is just one of those examples of like a fan base just, being silly about something. Like,
it's not liking it because I don't like it.
Yeah, it's an original piece of art. Like, it's not supposed to be the exact thing.
Yeah.
I think they even said in the announcement too here that it's oh gosh, I think he said just like it it's inspired by, you know, the different Mickeys throughout the years, right? So it's not gonna be the exact thing. I mean, man, it's just listen. At least for all you haters of the new series, like it's not the new version of it.
Yeah, it's like, not the Mickey Shorts. Mickey Mouse.
It's the old version.
It's closer back to like the House of Mouse and 90s Mickey Mouse, or that. And I think maybe that's the interesting thing is, you know, as he says, you know, it's inspired by different versions of Mickey. I think that, you know, anybody looking at this will take different pieces out of it, right? Like you will, like, you know, I'm looking and going, oh, this reminds me of, you know, something from when I was younger, but everyone will kind of have their own take on it, which isn't a bad thing.
I mean, do like people realize like how different the original Mickey Mouse looks from like the one from the 50s? Mm-hmm. Like it's not even the same character. Like, you know,
I always think back there was an 80s, there was a little short where it was, so it was like the current Mickey Mouse at the time, and he was like super animated and dancing. And then it was like the original 1930s Mickey Mouse. And he was just like he was dancing next to him, but it was just like the same animation. And the new Mickey Mouse was like doing all this stuff. And then he turns to the other one's like, what are you doing? And the other one just turns to him and goes squawk. And that's it. Like, yeah.
I mean, that's
people forget. Yeah. You know, that there has been a huge evolution to Mickey, and there still is. Like, it's never going to stop. So,
yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah. It just, I just don't understand why people get mad about certain things sometimes. It's just, and I mean, I'm not even sure I understand what people's specific problem is with this mural. Like, is it, I saw somebody comment about his eyes, how he looked like tired or something. Okay, sure. Like,
no, maybe you're projecting the fact that you're tired. I don't know.
No. So I saw a comment that said that. Oh yeah. Oh, you're saying that person? I thought you were saying to me.
No, not to you. I'm saying to random person. You know, maybe you're the one that's tired and you're just projecting that. No, I think it's because there's actual, like, there is more shading done on this one, and actually really looking at it now, like there's 3 different depictions of Mickey on it, and the middle one has a lot more shading and color going on. Whereas if you look at the one to the right, it's a little more flat. So it is, you know, that older Mickey Mouse, which didn't actually have a lot of detail or shading to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
People. Just like, yeah, I mean, like I said, I hadn't really seen it, but then again, I don't really do Instagram, and so I didn't read like Instagram comments, but you know, it seems very mixed on Instagram. But again, I also don't care about what anyone on the internet says about anything, so whatever. So
I actually heard something a little while ago, not just related to Disney, but just, you know, hobbies in general, is like, you know, you're allowed, you know, even when, you know, people say something is garbage, or, you know, that it's, you know, people don't like something, you're allowed to like it. Like, it, just because people decide that, you know, oh, this is bad, or, you know, like this show is bad, or why would you watch this show? I'm allowed to like something. Like,
yeah, I believe, and I think Damon had to go, but I mean, I believe Damon even described this. Didn't he say this is fire or something? He said something like that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you know, Damon's hard to impress. He's not here, so I can say, you know, funny things about him. But it's, you know, I'm not surprised by that, because this is a cool piece of art, man. I mean, this is hand painted. Everyone's been complaining that Disney's been doing a lot of stuff with like decals instead of making like hand painted pieces anymore. This is a hand painted 35-foot mural. Like, come on now.
This just tells you that, you know, and to be fair, keep in mind that, you know, the same people that complain about one thing are not the same people that complain about something else. It's always, you know, it's not the same people on the internet always complaining, but, you know, you can't win, right? You know, if you do the decals, if you do, you know, something computer generated, people will complain about that, but then you do hand painted, and, you know, people, well, that wasn't what I was thinking, or that wasn't what I like, right?
Or if they would have used the newer version of Mickey, people would be like, oh, you should have used the older version. And then, like, you know, it's impossible to please anybody. Like, I don't buy into any time there's internet outrage about stuff. It's like, just stop.
Yep.
You're 50 people out of hundreds of thousands.
I like it. I will walk into the creations shop and I will stop and look at this because I know what it is, and the interesting thing is that, this will become like anything else, this will become a piece or a part of this shop going forward.
Oh yeah.
And over time, like the thing is people love getting focused on the stuff. Over time, it'll be, you'll walk in there and people will just see it and it'll just be part of it. Like it'll be, it's like walking into the land, right? Like the land has those balloons and it has very specific things to it that make you know where you are, right? This will be the same thing for the creation shop in EPCOT is, you'll walk in there and it'll be, there's this mural in the back. And the funny thing is that, like anything else, you will eventually see this kind of stuff show up like on Etsy t-shirts or, even official Disney merchandise. Like the same way that there's that one Mickey in Harambe Market.
Yeah.
That one that doesn't look right at all.
Yeah.
But people will, eventually people will focus on that and you'll see it, there's the initial dislike of it, but then that will go away and then people will just accept it as being part of the atmosphere of Disney.
Well, and it'll be something you identify the creature shop with, right? That's like, there's always those things like in every place where it's like, oh, I remember this one piece of this. That, that reminds me of the creation shop. Like it's a really cool, it's a really cool piece. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's enough of that.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about food at the end here before we leave. And then, we can talk quickly about this KiteTails thing, coming to Animal Kingdom. So this is a new show that's going to happen in the Discovery River Theater, which used to be where, oh my gosh, I already forgot the name of the show.
Rivers of Light.
Yes, Rivers of Light. Thank you. And so basically they have these really cool kites and there's a video out there and it'll be linked to, but, of these kites that they've created and they're pretty cool. Some of them are as big as 30 feet. I mean, and they're going to be basically bringing them around this lagoon. I just think this is kind of fits so nicely into the Animal Kingdom,
aesthetic
vibe. Yeah. Cause like, I don't know. It just really kites. The idea of kites just really fit into that to me.
Well, and I think the problem with Rivers of Light was that it was a evening nighttime show, and Animal Kingdom doesn't really have much of a nighttime presence, and it's for the part that there is actual animals there, and they can't be running all kinds of extravagant things, like fireworks and music and all that kind of stuff into the evening. So yeah, I think I agree with you. I think this is a great way to do this and a great way to fit that vibe of Animal Kingdom, and also a good use for the, for that area that they built for Rivers of Light. Like, yeah, I think that they, they realized they had to do something with it, but it couldn't be a nighttime show. And, something visual during the day, kites do make sense because, yeah, it's not, one, it's not completely, stressing out the animals.
Exactly. It's going to be quiet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure there'll be music and stuff, but, no more so than there usually is during the day, right? So,
Exactly. Yeah. All right, so
okay.
Our last thing we'll talk about is they put out a foodie guide to Disneyland, and we're talking Disneyland.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm just going to drool over stuff that I can't eat because I won't be there. But I do. This food looks really good, and I wanted to talk about it. So, do you want to just go through these different sections here?
Yeah. I mean, let's so
do what we normally do.
Yeah, there's a lot here. I didn't realize how much there was here, but
it's not too bad. I think we can get through pretty quickly.
Okay.
But I was going to say start at the Carnation Cafe over here.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're skipping past Pizza Planet and all that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, pizza. We don't have pictures of that stuff, do we?
I thought that was. Oh no, that's the overall. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, that's just like an overall first picture, right? So. I'm just looking at this. Okay, here we go. So, oh my gosh, what is this stuff right here?
Actually, so the Carnation Cafe only has the spicy fried chicken sandwich.
Yeah, and then the French Market has the Haunted Mansion holiday wreath cookie. That looks pretty cool.
Which is that's a lot of green dye.
But it is, yeah, it is green. Yeah, very green. Chocolate cherry cake, that sounds good. Chocolate cake, buttercream frosting, sour cherries, and cream cheese filling. I'm in.
I never liked chocolate cherries.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, how about loaded barbecue pork fries? That sounds good to me.
Is that this monstrosity of a picture?
Oh, no.
That
those are onion rings, and those are loaded onion rings. Onion rings topped with creamy cheese sauce, crispy bacon, and green onions. That looks amazing. Don't call that a monstrosity. That looks amazing.
I don't know. I think it fits with Halloween and from the horror standpoint, because I'm pretty revolted by that.
Oh my god, I would eat all of those, but I'd also eat these barbecue pork fries.
I like the fact that they called them loaded barbecue pork fries and not poutine, because
yeah. Well, it's not. There's no gravy in this, right? So it's slow cooked barbecue pork, cheddar,
chipotle ranch. Yeah, okay, fine, but
so no gravy there. Let's see what else we got here.
Okay,
Halloween candy sundae. That sounds good.
I never. So okay, yeah. Going. So that's a Gibson girl. Going further down the list, like the thing is all these. So they always have these ones that look nice, but I don't feel would be very good. Like
really?
Yeah. Like so like for the desserts, like there's that. I can't even tell. It's like that one that says "dig in" on it, with the tombstone.
Oh yeah, let's see what that is. Yeah, I don't know.
This isn't organized nearly as well as
it usually is. Yeah, usually it lists the stuff right underneath where it is. Yeah, but it's a little bit of a mess this time.
Yeah, so I guess the thing is there's always like these dessert things, like it's a cake pop or something, and it looks cool, but I never like. It always seems like it's just the same thing. Like it's like, here's a cake pop that looks like Jack Skellington, or here's, a Minnie Mouse looking thing. And it's like, I wish that they would take the other good stuff that they're doing and like apply that to it instead of just doing the easy, like, it's always a cake pop or it's always a cookie that they've decorated. Right. And
I found it. It's Halloween gray stuff, traditional gray stuff with a tombstone cookie.
Okay. Which again is okay, fine. You've got a cookie and you've got icing there, basically. The dessert stuff, I'm kind of over it at the moment.
All right, let's go down a little bit then. How about a barbecue bacon dog, a foot-long hot dog with bacon slices, barbecue sauce, fried onions, jack and cheddar cheese, and chives? I'm all about that right there. Give me that.
That's crazy. Yeah. That
sounds amazing. Without the cheese for you. I know you don't do cheese, right?
Yeah. So I would skip on the cheese, but I mean, that would, that looks like it would be a meal in and of itself.
It does. Yeah.
But yeah, I like that.
I see they have monkey bread, which I love monkey bread, but it's pumpkin spice and I hate pumpkin spice. So
can't win. Yeah.
I'm up for the chicken and brisket grilled cheese sandwich though. Brisket, grilled cheese, hot chicken, pickled pepper relish. That sounds kind of delicious.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, chicken. Ooh, chicken and brisket. I just caught that.
Chicken and brisket. Yeah.
All right.
Exactly. We got a bunch of. Let's see. A chocolate hazelnut funnel cake. Go ahead. Sorry.
Before that, the spicy corn dog actually looks like it could be interesting. So I usually corn dogs are kind of sweet, and also, by the way, this is at the Stage Door Cafe. This is not the Red Wagon for anyone that's wondering. So I mean, I would hope that it's the same level of corn dog as you get from the Red Wagon, but I would be down for something a little more spicy for my corn dog. Yeah.
I'm down with that too. I'm also in for a chocolate hazelnut funnel cake with Halloween sprinkles. That sounds pretty good. Because the funnel cake is topped with chocolate hazelnut spread, whipped cream, and get rid of the chocolate espresso powder. Don't need that. The rest of it, I'm in. So, all right, let's talk churros, though.
These churros are kind of crazy. Holy!
All right, you want to read the churros?
Okay, so we've got we've got a churro with pumpkin dipping sauce at Casey Junior Circus Train.
Is that just a regular churro with the pumpkin dipping sauce?
Yeah. Chocolate dusted churros at Critter Country. White chocolate
Dark and milk
churro.
chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. White chocolate churro at New Orleans. And then a pumpkin spice churro, which that I just lost Tom.
Yeah, you lost me. Yep. I hate pumpkin spice.
And then a chocolate cookie churro. There's a lot of chocolate going on here.
I go chocolate cookie churro. That's probably the one I go with. That sounds good.
Yeah, I go, okay, yeah, that's like chocolate cookie crumble. So it's like an Oreo over top of your churro.
Yeah, that's what I would go with.
Yeah. I would try the pumpkin spice one. I'm not against pumpkin spice. I mean, I would be curious to see how well it works on a churro, but yeah, I see your point. You know, pumpkin spice this time of year gets kind of overdone.
Into everything.
Yeah. So I don't know if I really need it in my churro necessarily.
Oh, wow. You're right. There's a lot of stuff in here. My gosh. All right. Let's skip down a little bit. I'm just looking at, here's a place I'm going to lose you. Corn Dog Castle, pepper jack cheese stick. Oh, I'm in for this. It's just a deep fried pepper jack cheese stick.
I would love to try it, but I can't sacrifice the rest of my day for eating a cheese stick.
I mean, it's a big piece of cheese too. Oh man, that looks good. And then I'm also looking at the spicy mac and cheese cone.
Yeah, I may actually consider, like, mac and cheese is kind of borderline for me.
Okay.
So, I would consider this. Yeah.
They got some loaded gravy fries I'm seeing here. They're not calling it poutine though. They're calling them loaded gravy fries.
Yep.
So be happy
maybe
about
they
that.
heard me when I said stop calling it poutine.
Yeah. Let's see what else you got. I'm just scrolling down a little bit here. So
okay, I take back a little bit of what I just said about, stop doing cake pops. The one that's standing out to me is this cozy cone macaroon filled with peanut butter cream and pretzels.
Okay.
So,
that one looks good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's a macaroon, which again is not a cake pop. And the fact that they're using a peanut butter cream, like it's a little bit different. It's not just, the same candy or confection that you always find, right?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. All right. Now I'm just going to scroll down and see what catches my eye. That's where I'm going to go now.
So what about, did you skip past Flo's? Because Flo's actually is usually pretty good.
Let's see. What has Flo's got over here?
Spicy chicken fries.
Yeah, that's why I was mentioning the loaded gravy fries. They got loaded buffalo chicken fries. That sounds amazing. Loaded gravy fries sounds good. I'm not a chili person, but
the buffalo chicken would probably be my go-to.
Yeah, I'd go buffalo chicken or loaded gravy. Either way, I'm in, because they're chicken. It also has chicken tenders, jack cheese, and smothered in gravy. That just sounds amazing.
Yeah.
At least they're not calling it poutine. So good news. Let's see what else we got here. Oh man, I see some loaded tots over here. I'm always down for a tot. Well, I don't even see the description though of the tots.
Can we talk about Lamplight Lounge has ghost pepper nachos, which ghost pepper as a pun at Halloween is great, but also ghost peppers are pretty spicy. This is interesting because they're putting it in quite a few things. There's a ghost pepper cheese sauce, a ghost pepper marinated steak.
Wow.
Like that's,
Is that the picture that's above with the green chips?
Yeah, that's the green tortilla chips.
The green tortilla chips? Okay.
So again, they're really going all in with this like neon green this year too, which, I mean, I don't know what they're using to make that color dye, but yeah.
I just know what happens after, you eat something that's got colored dye like that. And I've experienced this before.
A couple of days of that may not be good for the digestive system.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to find the description for these loaded tots. I don't see them anywhere. I just see tots with some cheese and bacon on them and jalapeno. I'm down. I'm in for that. Give me that. And the Jack Skellington cake pop, that looks good. I know you just said you hate cake pops.
It does. It looks good, but I don't like. That's the problem. It looks good, but that doesn't mean that it's actually any good.
Oh, here they are. The ghost pepper potato bites. So again, like you mentioned, the ghost pepper cheese sauce, smoky bacon, with jalapenos. Ghost pepper might be a little too far for me. Like I'm not a big spicy person, but we got more churros. Do you see there's more churros?
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. Oh, these ones are these are crazier.
Yeah, these are crazier. Fruity sugar churro. This is okay. Let's call this what it is. It's Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fruity Pebbles. I was thinking Fruit Loops, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it could be that too. It says tossed in fruity cereal sugar. So
right.
I mean, it could be either one of those, right?
Like caramel apple churro.
Oh,
chocolate marshmallow and chocolate and matcha churro.
I'm not a matcha fan.
I like matcha, so that would
give me all three of these except for the last one. Like, I'll do 3 out of 4.
Well, I also see the pickle
dog.
The pickle dog is back. Yeah.
Yeah. Did it ever leave though? Was it there the whole time?
I guess they're advertising it again.
Oh, but now it's rolled in a cheddar cheese blend. I don't think that was the case before. Now it looks cheese on the outside.
It looks like extra, like there's like 4 layers going on there.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all I really see on here. This looks like some good stuff. I'm just kind of sad I can't eat any of it because I won't be there. Yeah. So, but I like talking food. So
you'll have to live vicariously through some of our listeners that get to go to Disneyland.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah. I know someday I'm going to go back there, but I'm waiting to see one with this new DVC resort and also what the expansion is going to look like. I'm really interested in that. So
yeah, if the expansion ever happens.
Yeah, I think it will, but I think we're still a good 3 or 4 years out on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, you want to wrap this thing up?
Yeah. Sorry,
like
1
Damon's
second.
Just going to pop in at the very last second again, like he did last time.
Yeah. I don't know if he's been listening this whole time or not, but I guess we'll find out here. Okay, I totally lost my spot because I was too busy looking at pictures of food.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, you get distracted by food. You know, it happens to me all the time.
Exactly. All right. So if you guys want to get a hold of us, you can always reach out to us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys. We have lots of great back and forth, people sharing their experiences, asking us questions, about trips, about DVC, all that kind of stuff. So, drop us an email if you guys want to talk to us.
Yeah.
If you would rather find us on Facebook, you can find us as Welcome Home Podcast there. And there is also the Welcome Home Disney waitlist, which you can join and be part of the conversation. The group is getting bigger, but, we want to make sure that everyone in there is being respectful of one another. I think, overall the group is pretty great about, we can have discussions in there and we can talk about things. And, it's not like other Disney groups where, where people tend to devolve into drama. So, come hang out with us if you want, the nice Disney, Facebook group. Also,
Damon's going to ban anybody that isn't nice. So
yeah, well, he did warn on that. If you're not going to be nice, you won't be in the group. So there's that. But overall, like I said, all of our listeners that are in there are really nice, and come be part of the conversation if you want to see what people are talking about. And also, if you want to follow us in other places, there's YouTube and Instagram. YouTube is Welcome Home Podcast and Instagram is Welcome Home Pics. Great places to follow us as, we are lining up trips here. Tom is planning a trip. You'll see stuff from that posted on those platforms. So make sure you guys, subscribe there so you can stay up to date on what kind of shenanigans Tom gets up to on his trip. We'll see how drinking around the world goes.
I documented it last time I did it, and if I document it this time, it'll probably be just as funny as it was the last time.
Yeah,
so
I'm looking forward to seeing like an Instagram story devolve as you.
Well, it's the progression, right? Because it's the first country you're all like happy, and then by the time you get like halfway through, you're starting to get a little more, Yeah, it's the progression is a fun view. So yeah, I don't even know what an Instagram story is. So maybe I'll leave this up to my wife or my sister to take care of. I think they understand Instagram, but I do not. So
yeah, I'll just wait for, the breakdown in Norway or something.
Well, it depends on what side we start on, right? So because I usually start Mexico, but the people I was with saying were like, no, you got to end with the tequila and the margaritas. And I was like, you might be right about that.
And I feel because of the fact that, like there's the crepe stand and everything in France, you actually may want to start the other way this time.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we start. Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
so yeah, make sure you guys follow that because, obviously we've got trips coming up and that'll be, those are the platforms to catch us. If you guys want some merchandise, make sure you go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com. We are moved over to Spring.
New store.
Yeah. Formerly
we got new
Teespring.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's new stuff up there. Are the fanny packs available now?
Oh, the fanny packs are available.
Okay.
My friend.
So we have fanny packs for all you fanny pack enthusiasts out there. Make sure you get your Welcome Home Podcast fanny pack. I know
and
I won't be wearing mine.
I will say too, like the new stuff that's in there, like the new masks that are in there are much nicer than the ones that were sold from the old store. There's some interesting stuff in there. We got pint glasses, we got bottles, you got, there's all sorts of neat stuff you can get and stuff that I haven't put up yet too. So, but yeah, there's a new store. So go check it out. There's some cool stuff in there.
Exactly. And then also, if you guys like the podcast and you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod. And we have different tiers there for support, and some of them have merchandise tied to them. And it'll also get you access to the Discord server.
Exclusive merch.
Exactly.
We should mention.
Yes,
yeah.
It is exclusive to Patreon merch. So you won't, it's a Patreon exclusive logo that you won't find in the store. So, if you guys are interested in something like that, go check out the Patreon and then also, it gives you, access to the Discord, which,
it's been fun.
Yeah, Discord's been fun. There's, good conversations on there. I am planning to, for those that know how to use Discord, there is a voice channel as well. And, there will be the opportunity to do some streaming and stuff on there. So if you're interested, in that kind of stuff, I would recommend, checking it out.
There's also been some talk of us using the new Patreon logo to make it into pins and to give that out to our Patreon folks. So I think we're going to do that. So, that's the thing. If you want the cool new logo and a pin, that'll be something we do in the future too. So, well, we're going to do random little giveaways like that. So listen, and if you're not Patreon, we're going to do that kind of stuff too. Random giveaways and such, but it's, just there's different stuff we're doing with Patreon. So
exactly. And last but not least, if you guys want to leave us a review on iTunes, please do so. We do look at those reviews. We do appreciate the effort that some people put into their reviews, and good and bad comments are we like them all because we do appreciate constructive criticism. Just saying that we're boring or whatever is not constructive. So, don't do that. But, also if you can leave us 5 stars because that makes Tom happy.
Well, and now I'm a little spoiled. I only want my my reviews to be in poem form. So they please, if you're going to give us a 1-star review, at least put some effort and make it a poem.
Right. I think that set the bar a little high.
It did. It set the bar a little high for sure. So, but also don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any podcast app you can find out there. We are available. Just search for Welcome Home. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a DVC representative or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to our sponsor, DVC Rental Store. Please check them out. They've been a longtime partner of the show, and check them out if you want to rent out your points or if you want to try out DVC and rent some points from an owner. So join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.